My name's Chandler. I'm here with my brother Austin. Say hello.
What's up? What's good?
So today we're gonna talk a little bit about NASCAR. We're gonna talk about the throwback weekend that is coming up this weekend at Darlington Raceway. We're gonna go over our top 5 favorite throwback schemes were that were shown and announced. And we're also going to talk about the next gen car that just was released yesterday on Wednesday. This is being recorded on Thursday. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about how far the season has gone and how promising it looks for this year and next year. So what do you want to start off with today?
We can talk about the car since it happened yesterday.
Okay. Honestly, I like them. I think they actually look good. They actually look more like the actual cars that they are actually trying to promote and buy. I've noticed
Yeah.
I've noticed that with the Camaros. If you actually look at the quarter panel, it's actually almost the same amount of distance for the actual stock car and the actual road driving car.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if you look at the current Gen 6 of the Camaro, it still has the Chevy SS A-pillar because of the way the symmetry of the car is. I like it better. The only thing I don't like is just the one lug nut. I'll get used to it, though, because it's technically not on a stock car. But I get why they're doing it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see bump drafting in these cars because all the bumpers are curvy now.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I wonder how, I'm honestly am waiting until they start doing practice session with multiple cars. Maybe if they do, and if they do it beforehand instead of waiting until speed weeks to do testing sessions at Daytona or Talladega to see how the cars actually will work. Or maybe,
Yeah.
or maybe they might do what they did back, I think it was 14, 15 with the Gen 6, where they basically took the back bumpers and just made them flat.
Yeah, I mean, I could
And
also see too where they said no more tampered spacers and all that, but that might end up being more ductwork on the front of the car.
that is true. Uh, so I was wanting to know this. Which one out of the three is your most favorite?
I like the Mustang personally.
The
I
Mu-
think the Mustang looks the best. I think Chevy next, and then I would go with the Camry, just because the Camry kind of looks the same. But I think out of all of them, the Mustang looks the meanest and to me the nicest.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with that. I'm just instead of the Ford as the number one for me, the Chevy's the number one for me because I honestly think for me it's the fact that it looks almost exactly like the car that it's trying to sell.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
just like how the Monte Carlos used to look like in like '06 and '07. They look almost identical, and the way that they were made, and the back bumper and all that. So
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I like about the Camry is how it has the Kentucky license plate on the back. I don't know if they're going to keep that or not, but it's pretty cool to see that. Kind of how like Ford does with their Michigan license plate.
I actually did not even see that. I actually didn't even know that
Yeah,
was on there.
yeah, it's because Camrys are made in Kentucky, so it's funny because everyone worries about it being a foreign car, but yet they're the most American-made car out there.
That is true. So, well, with that out of the way, I guess we can kind of go ahead and talk about how this season has been. I mean, this season's definitely been. I wouldn't say it's really weird, but it's definitely been a different season.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, what are we at now? In 11 races, I think we're at 10 different winners.
Yeah, there's only one that's won twice, which is good old Martin Truex.
Yeah. So Kyle Busch won the race last weekend, which I'm gonna be honest. As much as I used to hate the guy, I actually am kind of glad that he did win that race.
Yeah, for
Even
sure.
even go ahead.
It's I mean, as long as it's anybody but Hamlin, that's all that matters.
I'll second with you on that one. But I was kind of upset that that Blaney and Larson both kind of messed that last restart up and kind of got them out of contention for this race.
Yeah, but they both have a win, so it's one of the things where um, they're trying to press the issue to see what they can and can't do. I think if Larson didn't already have a win, I don't think he would have pushed as hard as he was.
Yeah, I honestly think that too, especially because they were on old tires. I think I know Harvick finished second, And I honestly think if Harvick had a lap or two more, I think he would have put past Kyle Busch for the win because he had fresh tires. So tires are definitely playing a huge part in that last restart. But I honestly think, it's just, you never know. It's a what if situation. But I think that if Larson didn't have a win, I think he would have been more cautious, like you said.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to think. Let's see. So we have right now is the chase formats. It's Michael McDowell is in it, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., William Byron. Who else? I'm trying to think off the top of my head instead of searching it.
I mean, I think as of right now, Austin Dillon's in, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Logano, Truex, and Hamlin. Even though Hamlin doesn't have a win, the way that it works out is whoever is leading the points gets in automatically, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Whoever wins the overall season championship.
Well, I'm looking at the stats right now. Hamlin has 5 stage wins, which is what helps out the most.
Yeah.
And even though, I'm actually looking on NASCAR site. It's not even updated just yet. But Martin Truex Jr. is up on the top. He's actually, his power ranking is 1. He has, I think the stage win is what put Hamlin's up in the top because he has.
Yeah, Hamlin has a total of 481.
Yeah.
The next is, he's almost 100 points ahead of everybody without a win.
Yeah.
And that's, with Truex with 394 with 2 wins. So
yeah.
he's definitely up there on a stage of his own. I mean, he could have either sealed the deal with a win last weekend. But again, I don't know why McDonald's doesn't sponsor him because it'd be the best sponsor for him because he McChokes all the time.
That you're not wrong about that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Is like everyone, just like that was one thing about the whole reveal yesterday. Is they had Chase Elliott. Sure, I get it. He won the championship last year. Ford had Joey Logano. That's great. He's won a championship. But then they had Denny Hamlin as the guy for Toyota. When you have multiple other guys that have won championships that are driving Toyotas, and you have him instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Kyle Busch was the face of it until Hamlin. I think Kyle Busch was the face of it until after he won his second championship. And then when Hamlin won the third Daytona 500 is when they started focusing on him. When he became the big three instead of Kyle Busch. And
I'll just be honest with you. To be honest with you, it's because ever since JD passed away is when he's kind of become the face of Toyota, and it's fine. I mean, if that's what they want to roll with, but you have a guy that hasn't won a championship yet. I mean, I know he's won a lot of races, and that's great, but he's also said, too, that he'd rather win the Daytona 500 over championships. Like, I'm sorry, but I'd rather have a championship over a Daytona 500 win. That's just me.
Well, I would rather have both over I would rather have both a Daytona 500 and a championship.
Well, I would, too, but it's just the point of, he's in the same boat as Michael McDowell now. That's the who's won a Daytona 500? Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, these guys like that, and Trevor Bayne. I would say Dillon's more of a higher up, but just the point of only having a handful of wins, and that's where you get it at.
Yeah,
that's great. But it's not a championship, and I get it. In this standpoint, the way the playoffs are, it's a lot harder to win. It's a lot harder. Yeah, it's a lot harder to win the championship because of the way the playoffs are. I agree. It sucks. Jeff Gordon should be a 7-time champion. He should be the greatest of all time. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But that's not the way the dominoes fell when it comes to all these new rules and regulations. And I think that's where Hamlin, the reason why he said something like that is because, he has a chance every year to win the regular season, but not the actual championship because he ends up choking in the playoffs. Same as Kevin Harvick. Harvick should have won it easily last year. How many races? He had won 8 races last year. He should have won.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely think that Harvick should have won the championship last year.
Yeah, but and the thing with the way the playoffs is, it said Chase Elliott wins it. And I don't know if it's just because I don't mind him, but it's just this year, every time who won last year? I'm oh, that's right. Chase Elliott won. that doesn't seem... it's like we're in another universe. Ever since COVID hit, we're an alternate universe.
Yeah. I was gonna say we're gonna make two fan bases mad. We're gonna make the Hamlin fan base kind of upset, and then also I'm about to make all the Chase fan base pretty much mad because I don't like Chase Elliott. I just I don't know. I've never really liked him. Never cared for him when he was in trucks and Xfinity, and I just seen that he has like kind of like a dry personality. He's never been a driver that like I want to like watch every week.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I really don't. He's not my favorite, but he's not the most hated for me. Um, I guess that's what we can ask right now. Who's your favorite driver in the Cup Series, and who's your most hated driver right now?
Okay. I honestly think at the moment for this season, I think Ryan Blaney is the guy that I've been pulling for. Mainly because I don't know, I feel like he's like a popular driver. He's at least almost everybody's second favorite, but he's kind of like the underdog. And like obviously like the Atlanta win was kind of like an underdog win, so that was awesome to watch that happen and see him win. But with him getting the wins at Talladega, I can see him becoming a Daytona 500 champion. So I definitely would like to see that happening soon. But the driver that I probably dislike the most, gosh, I don't even know because there's so many drivers that I really don't like or don't care for.
Well, then if there's so many, then pick three.
Okay. Well, if I have to pick three, let's see. Uh, well, obviously Chase Elliott's up there, just because I've never really cared much for him and I don't really like him. Um, I have to say, Ryan Priest. I mean, he's done a couple like, he's made through like two wrecks at Talladega, but it's just like I've never really cared much about him either. Like, besides, or was it? No, it was at Daytona. Sorry. Besides him missing like two wrecks in the 500 like 2 years ago, then that was pretty much it. And then Ross Chastain, I I can't really, I don't really like. I feel bad for saying this because I was pulling for him when he moved back to the Truck Series 2 years ago, and I like his celebration with the watermelon and smashing it on the track. But it's just, I think there's so much hype for him that he just doesn't have the talent to show it there. I mean, he's with Chip Ganassi Racing. I mean, like he was up there at Kansas towards the front on pit strategy, but but basically it's just his performance hasn't even been there. He's sitting 24th in the points right now, and he's got two DNFs, one top 10, and 11 starts.
Okay, so
And he has 12 laps led. Those are his stats for as we're 12 races in now, I think.
I believe so. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think if I had my favorite, obviously, is Austin Dillon.
Yes.
Takes over the three, whatnot. Um, I'll pick two that I really don't like. Number one is Martin Truex, easily. Like the man knew that he came from nothing. Like started with DEI, decent, then had to work his way back up. And then every time a lower funded team gets in his way, he loses his mind. It's like that was you 10 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, that was you. Like, why are you? I get it. You're in a faster car now, whatever. But like that was you 15 years ago. Calm down. Like, and then just everything is like, he didn't win he might have won the battle, but he's not winning the damn war. And then 2 weeks later, Joey Logano wins the championship. So it's like,
I still
put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, I honestly think that is one of the greatest moments in NASCAR. Was that?
Yeah, I don't know. Another one that I don't really like. I mean, another one I hate. See, I don't really know about hating, but I think another one would be. It's a good question. Let's see, I'm just gonna stick with one because there's not really anybody else that like I can't stand
Yeah.
to win.
I'm all for an underdog. And speaking of the playoffs, I was gonna ask this a little bit earlier before we went on this tangent. But right now, if the playoff format, like if the playoff cut-off race was Kansas and it got cut off right now, guess who's in the 15th spot for the playoff?
I'm assuming it's Chris Buescher.
It is.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
So
right here.
yeah, I am too. So right now, Kurt Busch. If this ended right now, Kurt Busch would have missed it by 12 points, and Matt DiBenedetto would have gotten in. So
Yeah,
it's and since Michael McDowell won, which I will say after Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500, he's definitely improved. Because I'm actually looking here at his stats. He has 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and only 1 DNF, and he's led 48 laps. And I'm pretty sure those were both at Daytona and Talladega. Unless he did pitch strategy that I didn't know about. But it's interesting to me to see like the way that like this is shaping out right now, and this is probably true to NASCAR's promotion. This is probably going to be one of the best seasons we've had in a long time.
oh for sure.
So, and so let's go ahead and close this out, and we'll close it out with our top 5 favorite throwback paint schemes of this year. There definitely was a lot of different. There was a lot of different eras coming around. I'll be honest, I kind of liked when they first started this. They actually had like a 90s and 80s or 70s throwback era. I honestly liked that more because that would mean more cars from one generation of paint schemes that people would have to go out and find. Not just anybody can go and run a throwback and it could be the same driver or the same one they ran for like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, what are your? I think I can already figure out what number 1 is. But what are your top 5 favorite throwback schemes for this year?
Well, I'm gonna do 6.
Okay.
To kind of ties between Corey LaJoy and Quinn Hoff. I like Corey LaJoy's a lot because it's not Alan Kowicki, and then Quinn Hoff's is I like because it has RCA and all that. And you start your RCA VHSs and all that to watch Prices Right and Bob Barker back in the '90s. Kind of like a little throwback feel there. Number 4 is Austin Dillon. I like the way his looks. It's different. 3, I would say, is Jeffrey Earnhardt. I like his a lot. I like the way that it looks, spot on, and like even slanted the number and everything. 2 would be Justin Allgaier. Another one that was another nod to Dale Earnhardt. I think it's pretty cool how they took the ice cream dude and made him look like Taz. And can you guess what number 1 is for me? Just guess.
I'm trying to remember. Honestly, I can't think of it at the top of my head. I feel like
this one is number 1 for me because it opened a whole nother world to throwbacks, and that is Joe Graff Jr.'s throwback with the DeLorean.
With the DeLorean. I should have known that. Yeah, that
for
one
sure, because it opens a whole nother world. Because everyone usually does like the NASCAR throwbacks, but not. No, it opens a world of TV cars. Like we're going to be about to see a lot more.
Yeah, and I definitely can see that, especially with like Star Wars and, Star. Wow, that was bad. But yeah, Star Wars definitely would be one. I can definitely see like other TV, like maybe someone will throw it back to a Shrek car, maybe not. I can definitely
think too. Like I could see someone doing like a Smokey and the Bandit type thing, make like a Firebird, but have like a company that's like Phoenix or something that looks like one. Stuff like that. You can see a lot more like Starsky and Hutch kind of a feel of that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. A lot of iconic the Mystery Machine was already done by Corey LaJoy in the 32 team when he was over there. That car looked beautiful. That car was awesome. I still am trying to find a diecast of that, and I've yet to see it, and I have yet to order it.
So what's your top 5 since we're talking about throwback?
Okay, so my top 5s, I'm going to go ahead. My number 5, I would have to say is William Byron's Valvoline 24 car. I honestly, the reason why it's at number 5 is I really like it. I've always liked Valvoline throwbacks, but when NASCAR tweeted it out, they used the wrong reference photo, and it kind of made me a little weirded out by it because obviously it was the wrong car, it was the wrong photo, it was the wrong paint scheme. So it didn't make sense. And then they never really went back and fixed it until Team Hendrick came out with their post and they actually put it on there. So that one sits at number 5 for me. Number 4, I have to say, Tyler Ankram's 26 truck, the Ricky Bobby.
Okay.
Honestly, just because it's the only, ever since like the movie, it's the only car besides Kurt Busch that has a paint scheme from that movie. And if they do radioactive for the trucks, or if they get any of his snippets of radio, I can already tell you that there's going to be a lot of quotes from Talladega Nights, and it's going to be funny. And that's what I can't wait for, is just to hear that. And then I would have to say number 3 is Jeremy Clement's Dale Jarrett tribute to, obviously, with the UPS. I like that one. It's pretty good, but honestly, Brandon Brown, which is at number 2 for me, I have 2 UPS schemes. Funny. Brandon Brown's UPS scheme is number 2 for me. I honestly think it's better than Jeremy Clement's. And recently on Twitter, UPS actually quote tweeted on his tweet post of what can Brandon Brown do for you. And they actually liked it, and they liked the fire emoji and all that, so that was cool. But obviously, I think the number 1 for me is, obviously, I'm going to have to say Austin Dillon's, mainly for the sole fact that they actually changed the 3 font, and they went to the old Bass Pro Shop logo, and I like the red 3. The red 3 has always been my favorite with him. I kind of, I understand the white 3 was Dale's and all that, but I like seeing Austin with the red or different color 3 to mix it up and change it. But I like the way the paint scheme is. I like how right down in the middle on the bow tie, you have the black stripe, the gold around it, and then you have the old Bass Pro Shop logo right on the corner panel behind, right in front of the rear wheel where the number's at. I kind of think that they utilize the empty space of the car pretty well, and I think it looks good overall.
Yeah. So, speaking of Throwback Weekend and being Darlington, I'm trying to wrap it up here. Who's your pick to win this weekend?
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to pick because I have three in mind that I definitely think that could win it, and one of them I really don't want to win it, but I can see them winning it. But I'm gonna have to say I can see Kyle Larson winning, just because I feel like in the 42 he's definitely has some good runs in the 42, and he definitely is the highline type of guy, so he can ride the wall and run that pretty good. So I see Kyle Larson winning. I can see Denny Hamlin winning it, and I can see Kevin Harvick. And I'm going to say those are my top 3 picks to win Darlington. Because with Harvick having a second place finish last week, I think that gives them the momentum to actually go forward to this race and perform really well.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, since you asked me that, who are you picking to win this weekend?
So I'm doing it this way. I got my favorite. I think the favorite of the race, obviously, is no questions asked, is Denny Hamlin. I think my pick to win is Eric Jones, and I think a good long shot. So obviously, I'll back up for a second. If I was a betting man, I'd put some money on Eric Jones because he knows how to win here. Yes, he won in the iRacing thing. That's great. All the cars are the same. But this is a good shot for him if they have good strategy and come out of there and do something with it. And he didn't win last year. He won a couple years before that. But he's really good here. I don't think he hasn't finished outside the top 10 at Darlington.
Okay.
But a long shot for this race, I could see maybe someone like Tyler Reddick because they ripped the top. I think they could, someone like him can either get up there or maybe even, this one might be a race where Bubba gets something going. I know he's usually not bad here. Sometimes he's got caught up in some stuff, but this one might be one for him.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I do want to ask one more thing before we do end this and close out.
Bubba.
Josh will like that.
But that's the thing. One more, but that's the thing about Eric Jones this track, though. I know I'm going back to him, but that's the one I really, really think. Same about him is if you saw him during the in the Invitational this weekend. Like he doesn't, he'll be all over you. He's on you harder than tinsel on a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and I definitely see him having a chance to win it. I mean, Richard Petty's been doing pretty decent with, especially with him as a driver, and they seem like they've been getting a good rhythm already going. So I can definitely see Eric Jones going up there and competing for a win. But since this is the last thing I'll talk about Darlington, and the last thing we'll talk about now, I want to know, which I already have this in mind, what is the worst throwback you've seen out of everybody's? And I feel like you have the same answer as me, but I don't know for a fact.
I think I do, but I think I'm gonna go a different direction.
Okay.
I'm gonna so just forever or just for this weekend.
Just for this weekend.
Oh, it's Ricky Stenhouse for sure.
Okay.
See, I know who you're going with, but I'm saying Ricky Stenhouse because are you gonna go with Gregson?
No.
Okay, well, I was gonna say at least that one they're not trying, but Ricky Stenhouse, like they tried and tried to say it was Ricky Craven, and it's not at all. It's
no, and see, that's what I was saying. Like if they're not trying at all this weekend, they don't count, obviously, because they're running their normal scheme. No, I was gonna say the worst one I saw was Martin Truex Jr. because for one, it made zero sense on how they basically took his championship car, which was just a matte black car from Furniture Row. They, instead of the orange numbers like it normally has, they put Auto Owners as a sponsor. They have blue teal numbers on it, and then they have a blue front end on it, and that's supposed to be the throwback to the championship car, which it's not the same paint scheme, but they say it is. So, and when it was released, I know a lot of people didn't like it. I hated it. I thought it was lazy. I thought it was just terrible. But that's just how I am. I mean, I understand, like, there's a point to where if you tried, like, I put Stenhouse paint scheme over this one because they at least tried and, like, said it was a nod to it. They at least tried to do the throwback, but they just ruined it. Meanwhile, Truex, they just didn't even try at all.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Well, I say this has kind of been like a short episode. Obviously, this is going to be our pilot episode, so hopefully we can do this probably once a week, maybe, depending on how this goes. And here on in the future, we'll probably go a little bit longer to where we can get maybe to about the 45-minute to an hour mark, but we're kind of tight on schedule right now. So this is just a short episode for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want to check us out, you can look at us on Twitter. My username is ChandlerJPaul72. And we also will have a Discord that will be either linked on this podcast or it will be in the description somewhere to where if you want to join our Discord server, you can. It's called the Paul Boys server. We'll basically have it to where anybody can come in. If you want to host an iRacing race and get a bunch of random people in that want to join and you have voice chat and all that, you can do that.
Or if you want to hop on here and talk.
Yes, if you want to hop onto the show and we actually have a conversation with you, you can do that. And we'll also be hosting some races. We might even do a league. We're not 100% sure at the moment, but that's in the future. That's what we want to do, and that's where we want to take this. So thank you guys for watching or listening. Whatever, we might get video platforms soon.
Yeah, and finish it off here. Noah Gregson's the GOAT.
Second on that, that's how we end it. All right, peace out and have fun. Whoops.